What would you do if one of the world's most elusive superstars suddenly climbed to the top of a list measuring pure global influence and landed just shy of number 1? Would you question how he did it? Or would you be too captivated by the story behind the numbers? Keep reading. And if you think Bruno Mars deserves even more recognition, hit that like button. Share this story and drop your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't just about music. It's about dominance, legacy, and the kind of impact you can't fake. How does a man who rarely posts on social media, vanishes between album cycles, and keeps his private life locked away from the public eye still manage to stand shoulder to shoulder with the most visible megastars on earth? How does he rise above an entire industry's nose to secure a place that most artists only dream of, and do it without chasing trends? In August 2025, Bloomberg's global ranking of the most influential pop artists delivered a shock to the industry. Bruno Mars, the Grammy-winning, genre-blending force of nature, had been crowned the third most influential artist in the entire world. It was the kind of news that made industry executives stop mid-meeting, made fans scramble to share the headline, and left fellow artists wondering how they could ever catch up. The ranking wasn't based on opinion, hype, or fan votes. It was grounded in cold, calculated data. 7 decisive factors determine each artist's standing: ticket sales from the past month, album sales over the last 4 weeks, touring revenue from the last 3 months, YouTube views, music streaming numbers over the past 30 days, and follower growth on both Instagram and TikTok. In other words, it measured not just popularity, but momentum. And in every one of those categories, Bruno Mars wasn't just competing, he was quietly crushing expectations. In the past month alone, his concert tickets sold out faster than some artists could even announce their tour. Stadiums from Los Angeles to Tokyo lit up with fans clutching tickets that had vanished from online platforms in minutes. His album sales in the last 4 weeks surged unexpectedly, likely fueled by a wave of nostalgia from longtime fans and a new generation discovering his discography through TikTok trends and viral mashups. Tour revenues from the last quarter painted a picture of an artist still in command of his live performance empire, with earnings that rivaled or surpassed artists half his age and twice as active on social media. But what really turned heads was the way his digital presence had evolved without him even trying to play the algorithm game. YouTube views for his music videos and live performances had spiked dramatically, as if a global audience suddenly decided to revisit the Bruno Mars catalog all at once. Songs like Just the Way You Are, Walked Out of Heaven, and Leave the Door Open found themselves climbing charts years after their original release dates. On streaming platforms, his numbers over the past 30 days weren't just stable, they were soaring, proving that even in an era obsessed with constant content drops, timeless music still commands the stage. And then there was the social media growth, arguably the most surprising part of the equation. Bruno Mars has never been one to flood Instagram or TikTok with daily posts, yet his follower count experienced an undeniable surge. Perhaps it was the mystery surrounding him, or maybe it was the carefully timed glimpses into his life that sparked massive engagement. Either way, it was proof that influence isn't always about quantity, it's about impact. One perfectly placed post, one unexpected behind-the-scenes clip, one electrifying live performance shared online, and the world reacts. Industry insiders couldn't stop talking about the Bloomberg list. Many assumed the top spots would be reserved for younger, hyper-online artists who dominate daily headlines, and yet, Bruno Mars was there, standing tall in third place, higher than some of the most aggressively marketed names in music. It was a quiet statement, but a powerful one. True artistry has its own gravitational pull. Fans, of course, were ecstatic. Social media erupted with celebrations, tribute videos, and endless threads dissecting the factors behind his success. Some pointed to his unparalleled live shows, performances so meticulously crafted they leave audiences in awe for years. Others credited his genre versatility, the way he seamlessly moves between pop, R&B, funk, and soul without losing his identity. And then there were those who simply said, "It's Bruno Mars, of course he's top 3. What made this moment even more compelling was the timing. The global music industry in 2025 is more competitive than ever. Artists are releasing music at breakneck speed, chasing virality, and battling for streams in a market oversaturated with new content every single day. Yet Bruno Mars had managed to carve out a space above the chaos, without constant noise, without endless online drama, and without pandering to fleeting trends. He had positioned himself as an unshakable cultural force. Critics who once argued that Bruno Mars' best days were behind him had to reevaluate their stance. The data didn't lie. The Bloomberg list wasn't about nostalgia, it was about measurable, current influence, and the numbers showed that in August 2025, Bruno Mars was not just relevant, he was thriving. Behind the scenes, industry analysts have suggested that this ranking could be a prelude to something bigger. Could it be the setup for a new album cycle, a global tour announcement, a major collaboration that would dominate charts for months? The hints are there, hidden in cryptic posts and subtle teases during recent performances. Whatever it is, fans are already bracing themselves for impact. But perhaps the most fascinating part of this story is the reminder that influence in music isn't always loud, constant, or desperate for attention. Sometimes, it's the artist who steps back, who lets the work speak for itself, who creates with intention rather than urgency that ends up redefining the game. Bruno Mars, in securing his place as the third most influential artist in the world, has done exactly that. And here's the question you have to ask yourself: if he can achieve this level of dominance without unleashing a full-scale campaign, what happens when he decides to? If third place is what he accomplishes with his foot only halfway on the gas, imagine what first place will look like when he's ready to claim it. So, is this the beginning of Bruno Mars' next era? Or is it the calm before a storm that will shake the industry all over again? Only time will tell. But one thing's certain when it comes to influence: the man just proved he's playing an entirely different game. And right now, the world is watching. The weight of this moment didn't just sit with Bruno's fans. It rippled through the entire music industry like a low, rolling thunder. You could almost feel the quiet panic among competitors, the ones who built their careers around constant output, viral challenges, and algorithm-friendly antics. Here was Bruno Mars, a man who could disappear from the public eye for months at a time, yet still storm into the top 3 most influential pop artists on the planet without so much as a warning. It wasn't supposed to work like this in 2025. The game had changed, and yet somehow, he had rewritten the rules again. For many industry veterans, the Bloomberg ranking felt like validation of something they'd been whispering about for years. Substance still matters. In a sea of disposable hits and fleeting fame, an artist who crafts a song with care, layering melodies, harmonies, and rhythms until they become timeless will always stand out. Bruno Mars wasn't chasing numbers, but numbers were chasing him. Every metric on that 7-point list told the same story. The world couldn't get enough of him, even when he wasn't actively demanding attention. Look at the touring numbers alone. In the last 3 months, his revenue figures painted the picture of a global phenomenon still at his peak. From the moment he steps on stage, it's more than a concert, it's an experience. The lights, the choreography, the way his voice glides from smooth falsetto to explosive belts, all of it designed to remind you why you fell in love with live music in the first place. These weren't just fans buying tickets. They were pilgrims making a journey to see something they knew they might never witness in the same way again. Album sales in the past month had spiked, and not just in his usual strongholds. Markets that had never been considered Bruno Mars territory were suddenly pulling impressive numbers. Analysts speculate it's the TikTok effect, clips of his older tracks resurfacing and introducing him to audiences too young to have experienced his early breakthroughs. But even then, it wasn't just nostalgia driving those dreams, it was discovery. For them, hearing Treasure or Versace on the floor for the first time was like stumbling into a secret they didn't know they needed. And then there's U2, His official music videos, live performances, and even fan-uploaded concert clips had been racking up millions of views daily. It wasn't just passive watching, people were engaging. Comment sections were flooded with stories. Couples sharing how they danced to Just the Way You Are at their wedding years ago. Teenagers explaining how To Forget Magic became their go-to hype song. Strangers connecting over the sheer joy of a saxophone solo. In a digital age where attention spans are shrinking, Bruno Mars had created moments people actually wanted to relive again and again. The Bloomberg list might have been the headline, but the truth is, this moment was about more than numbers. It was a reminder that real influence isn't measured in how loudly you shout. It's in how deeply you resonate. And right now, as the world tries to guess his next move, one question lingers above all. If this is what he accomplishes without trying to dominate the spotlight, what will happen when Bruno Mars finally decides to step forward and claim it completely? The answer might just rewrite music history all over again.